everyone, welcome to the workshop for international students. You are not alone. This is week 4, Hope. My name is Jihyun and I work at Counseling and Consultation Service. This workshop is composed of 4 parts: anxiety, depression, loneliness, and hope. This is the last week, Hope. After this workshop, I hope we can identify barriers that we international students have. We can explain how to deal with negative emotions related to those barriers. And lastly, we can try gratitude journaling. Before we start, I want to ask you, how are you doing? We came here, the United States, to study in Ohio. However, suddenly the COVID-19 outbreak started. Well, sometimes not everything is great. It seems like there are a bunch of hurdles in front of me. How about you? Shall we talk about barriers? Let's think about barriers. Here are some examples for international students like me. I know this is a lot. We have money, culture barrier, microaggression, comfort food, prejudice, visa, language, academic system, job, discrimination, and social family support. How can we deal with anger, sadness, and frustrations? To talk about this, I want to mention Viktor Frankl. He was an Australian neurologist and psychiatrist as well as a Holocaust survivor. He was a prisoner in Nazi concentration camp during World War II. And there is a famous book that he wrote, Man's Search for Meaning. This is so helpful, especially in this coronavirus season. This is the picture of starving prisoners in Absensi concentration camp, and they were liberated on May 5th, 1945. They were in danger of Holocaust. They didn't know when they were going to be killed. They starved, they were beaten, they couldn't sleep well, and their families and friends were dying every day. This is the part that I like the most in this book, so let me read it for you. One evening, when we were already resting on the floor of our hut, dead, tired, soup bowls in hand, a fellow prisoner rushed in and asked us to run out to the assembly grounds and see the wonderful sunset. Standing outside, we saw sinister clouds glowing in the west, and the whole sky alive with clouds of ever-changing shapes and colors, from steel blue to blood red. The desolate gray mud huts provided a sharp contrast, while the puddles on the muddy ground reflected the glowing sky. Then, after minutes of moving silence, one prisoner said to another, "How beautiful the world could be." You know, even they were in this horrible situation, they found hope and they found beauty in nature. Many researchers insist that even if we human beings are in desperate situation, we can find hope. Okay, so today I want to talk about gratitude. Gratitude has dramatic and lasting positive effects in life, according to research. So let's see, it helps us have lower blood pressure, it improves immune function, it promotes happiness and well-being, and it spurs acts of helpfulness, generosity, and cooperation. And gratitude reduces risk for depression, anxiety, and substance abuse disorders. So in this session, I want to work on gratitude journaling with a worksheet. So let's see, what can we write? We can write everyday pleasures, people, strengths or talents, natural beauty, or kindness from others. Okay, here's my example. Today I did yoga with peaceful music. I felt relaxed and calm. I was grateful that I was able to exercise in my room. I know some of you may go into self quarantine for a while, and that is really hard. We should be stuck in our room or in our house. But still, in that case, we can do yoga in our room. So I thought it was grateful. And actually, when you start finding grateful things, then actually you can realize that you can find a lot. So let me share mine. I'm grateful that I'm still studying and working. And thanks to this workshop, I can share what I learned and help people who are in similar situations with me. These days, I cook a lot and share the foods with my friends. Now I can cook better and we can support each other by sharing foods. Because of this pandemic, these days I'm learning how to deal with stressful events. And also, I am thinking about what is important in my life. And you know what? These days, I think I've got a lot of stories to tell others in the future. I do believe that we can get over this. We can all make this. So after years later, we can talk about what we did in this season, what we talked about, and what we experienced. So after all these things happen, we can make it as our memories. Now let me pull up the worksheet. Gratitude journaling. We want to focus for a moment on benefits or gifts that you have received in your life. These gifts could be simply everyday pleasures, people in your life, personal strengths or talents, moments of natural beauty, or gestures of kindness from others. We might not normally think about these things as gifts, but that is how we want you to think about them. Take a moment to really savor or relish these gifts, think about their value, and then write them down every night before going to sleep. So let's keep a journal of gratitude. As you can see, it's just like a planner or a calendar, so you can do it by yourself. And here's some tips. Before you write a journal, it'll be more helpful to read what you've already written. So, for example, on Monday, when you wrote down one grateful thing, then when you write down a new thing on Tuesday, you can read the former one. So you can remember and remind yourself of the grateful thing. So you can accumulate the grateful things that you have. Now let me go back to the slides. And these days, I think it's helpful for us to focus on what we can do and we can control. So we can seek help from faculty members or professors and TAs about our language barrier and academic achievement and funding opportunities. And we can raise up our voices and impact others using iMessage. For those of you who may not know about iMessage is focusing on subject I instead of you. So for example, instead of saying, because of you, this happened, that is because of you, but rather saying, I felt sad or frustrated when you did something. So focus on I, myself, and my emotions. And we can send a thank you letter, thank you email to a professor who cared about we, international students. And we can join advocacy groups or organizations. We have Multicultural Center. And if you have any more ideas, please let me know so I can add it to this slide. And now I'd like to talk about seeking help. Actually, there are many barriers for international students to seek help. Some cultures believe that people should be able to handle emotional difficulties on their own. Sadly, I'm from one of these cultures. So some international students may be reluctant to speak to family members and friends in their home country about how they are feeling for fear of burdening them with their problems. Due to this barrier, some international students use emotional suppression as our coping styles, and this increases vulnerability to depression and anxiety. So I hope there's no stigma. When we get sick, we go to hospital, then we can be healthier. In the same way, when we have emotional difficulties, when we go to CCS, we can be happier. And now I'd like to move on to the second barrier. International students tend to have somatization problems. Somatization is having physical symptoms because of psychological distress. So simply put, uh, when we sick, but that is not because of our physical reason, but because of our psychological reason, we can regard that as somatization. So here are some examples. We cannot sleep well or eat well, getting tired, and we have headaches, an increase in blood pressure, and we have stomach and intestine problems. And if your doctor told you that you don't have any problems in your body, but you are still feeling sickness, maybe this can be one of the possibilities. And the last barrier, many international students report that their problems were not significant enough to seek help. But I have a lot of international friends, so sometimes they share their own emotional difficulties or personal issues with me. But while I was listening to their stories, actually, I felt frequently that their problems are significant enough to seek help. Actually, that was not a small thing, but they just talked about that, not seriously, but actually that was serious. That was sad. And lastly, international students reported their doubt that counselors would not have adequate cultural knowledge. But actually, CCS provides therapy in diverse languages. This is wonderful, right? It provides Cantonese Chinese, English, Hindi, Malay, Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Yoruba language service. So please come to us. Let's try. Today we talked about gratitude journaling and help seeking. So please try gratitude journaling and please seek help when needed. This is the closing. Please give me any kind of feedback. This will help other international students in the future. Here's my email address and here's the reference. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you take good care of yourself. Thank you.